evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Camelia Bogdan, and the Money Show starts right now with Liz Hancock. It is the first edition of 2018, and being the first one will be a special one. Why? Because Liz will tell us how we can have a very supportive mindset around money to have prosperity on this year. So I want to welcome Liz. Welcome to my show.
Thank
you. And please tell us about you.
Okay, I will. So thank you so much for that introduction. And it's so exciting to be doing this on the 2nd of January already. So it's good to be back in the saddle. I've loved the Christmas time off, but it's also great to be back doing what I love to do, as well as spending time with family and friends and everything else. But so I am Liz Hancock. Elizabeth Mary Hancock is my kind of like proper professional name, if you like. That's my website. I just saw Bradley pop up, so hello Bradley, nice to have you with us. And I am a wealth coach, because I think, well, health I dropped in there by accident, but I think being wealthy can make you really healthy. And if you're not wealthy in your mind, then actually you're not going to have a very healthy and fabulous life. Oh, Lara, hello. I know Lara very well, so great to have you here. So yeah, what I do for people is I really help them with their mindset around being comfortable with money. I love what you said, Camelia, about feeling supportive around money, having a supportive mindset. And I think that's the cornerstone of a successful life, but obviously very much so a successful business. Because whether we like it or not, money is related to absolutely everything we do in life and everything we want and everything we don't want. So money does make the world go round, as well as love and happiness and all that stuff. But so that's what I focus on. I focus on the mindset and then the business coaching that goes around that, because I really believe you can't have one without the other. And, you know, we can do mindset work on its own. And for some people who've really got a good plan of how to do their business, that's enough. But for most people, having a great mindset isn't everything. They also need a really good strategy and a plan. So my kind of like signature process is the 50K formula. And that's the 50K mindset and the 50K formula in terms of earning that much money in your business. Because I think there's a lot of talk about let's make 100 grand in a year and let's have 10K months. But for someone just starting off, that can be quite overwhelming and scary. And that's part of the work I do, making business not overwhelming and scary. So that's why I've kind of plumped for the 50K mindset and the 50K formula, because that's where we need to get to first. And once you get there successfully, then it's much easier to be able to aim higher. But if you aim straight for the stars, you might fall on the way down. And I don't want that for anyone. So yeah, that's me, kind of in a nutshell.
Exactly. It's every journey starts with the first step. So it's easier to start with the earning something from your business, and after that to go to the million, billion, and so on. Absolutely. So from this point, please tell us, what means money to you?
What does money mean to me? Money, as I said just now, I do think money is related to every single area in our lives. And so money for me is freedom. For me, without money, I can't live the life I like, the life I love. I can't have the holidays I like. I can't live in the house I like. I can't give my children the experiences I like, which are usually involved in holidays. I can't send them to private school. I can't support my husband. He has to shoulder the weight. And for some people, that's okay, but it hasn't been for me. And that's been something that I had to get my head around when I started out on this journey, is if I run this business, how does that impact me as a mother, as a wife, as a, you know, homemaker, primary carer, and all that kind of thing. But actually the money, it is a balance. It's a tricky balance sometimes, but on the whole, generally money can actually make that relationship with your family and with your husband, wife, whoever, enriched. It can enrich it. You know, I love spending money on my friends and family, and not in a flash way, but I just like to be able to treat them if they're not going to get offended by it. I like to have nice things. I'm not flash or anything, but I just, you know, I want to know that I'm not scrimping and saving at the end of the month. And so, yeah, for me, money is freedom. It really is. Yeah.
I like to sort of tell to my clients that except for the air, we have to pay for everything.
Yes.
So it's not only the life that I want to live, but also is the basic, because the life what we want starts with the basics.
Yeah. Okay.
And the next question is, okay, we have money, we have that life what we want. In which way money influence the opportunities that we have in our life, professional or personal one?
Yeah, yeah. So personally, I think that's much easier, because you think, well, okay, if I've got money, I can afford to do these things. I can afford to go on holiday, have a nice house, have a nice car, send my kids to private school, all those lovely things. I think it's quite expensive to live nowadays if you want to live a decent quality of life. But on a professional level, I think money affords you to develop in a professional capacity. You know, if you're in a job that you love and you progress and earn more money and get the mindset right, so you're not just spending it all as quick as you earn it, you know, a lot of the time as our income comes up, so does our lifestyle. So we actually don't ever really feel like we're any better off apart from the material things around us. I think that is a massive area to address. But I think it's really about feeling comfortable around money, comfortable in how you are progressing in your career or in your business, and not being afraid to own that. I think, you know, you don't have to shout it out from the rooftops like the way some other people are doing it on Facebook. If people want to do that, that's fine. Personally, I'm not into that. But I do, like, I have to own my success. And owning the amount of money that you earn or the success that you're having is part of that. So I think professionally and in business especially, if you're making decent money, you can afford to invest more in your business, more in yourself as a person, so you can get better help, you can get better support, you can employ better staff, you can hire an amazing coach or multiple coaches. You know, you can get what you need to grow your business and take it to the next level, or just make your business more easy. You know, if you want to spend less time on your business, you can outsource more and get more help. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're, you know, crack this whatever ceiling you're putting on, but you might, you know, your priority might be to make life easier for yourself and have a part-time business, or it might be to go full on, full in, and get loads of support and loads of help to really take you to that next level. So it does depend on, you know, your own personal preference. But for me, this year, I've kind of thought my word for the year is definitely expansion. Last year it was connection, and this year it's definitely expansion. I'm like, okay, I need to do this now. Not that I've been playing around. I've been growing, and now it's time to really own that and actually go, right, okay, foot on the gas, balancing it again, but let's get this done, kind of thing. Which is exciting. It is now. I'm talking to you, because earlier on in the day I was like, oh God, I'm back at work and it feels hard. And it's like, oh, I'm out of the habit of working. I've had such a lovely time off. But I think if you surround yourself with great people, and as soon as you get into it and you start talking about what you do rather than hiding behind your computer, that's when the magic happens, I think. And I'd love to see Jill's comment there. As an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, it is so difficult to wear the many hats required. Absolutely. Can I share how I manage this? I'm happy to. Is that all right, Camelia?
Please do.
How I've managed the different hats. I'm not sure if you mean the different hats in your business, Jill, or in life, if you're a mum and a wife and everything else. It is hard, and I think the best thing I ever did was get help early on. So I hired a coach the day I decided to get serious about my business, and I hired a virtual assistant as soon as my coach told me to do that. And when I hired my virtual assistant, I didn't even know what I was going to be giving her. But then my coach told me what I should give her, and that was, it works. Having said that, I think you should have an idea of how to do stuff yourself. But anything that you don't like, outsource. Anything that you're not very good at, outsource. Yes, we need to wear many hats, but we don't need to wear them all the time. We can just whip the hat on for a few seconds, make sure we know what's going on, and then pass that hat to somebody else. And I think as a solopreneur, especially, as I don't want to speak ill of the male population, but as a female entrepreneur who does have the family going on as well. I'm not saying the men don't. They might be primary carers as well, so I do include them in this if they are. But you've got a lot to handle, and it's not just getting the right help in your business. I think it's getting the right help in your life. So I have someone that helps me with the children 2 nights a week. If I'm really busy, I up it. And that's not necessarily so I can work, although if I've got a call like this, it might be. It's also so I'm not there doing washing and cooking, so I can actually spend time with my children, and all the stuff I don't like, I hate cooking, someone else can do. So it's getting the right help in the right places is really, really essential. Lara, I'd
Indeed.
love to hear about your breakthroughs. Yeah. Oh, thanks to Liz. Oh, I didn't listen to the I didn't read the last bit. That's really cool. Thanks, Lara.
Yeah, indeed. And we have to manage all of this. And as you said, money give us opportunities. And also you mentioned that part with nurturing ourselves, because we can grow. And I strongly believe that the business can grow only at the owner level. So also we have to grow on the same time, or a little bit with one step ahead by the business, to be able to grow the business.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the people around you. How can we have the right people around us, but also to keep the people that we love?
That's that can be challenging, especially in the early days. So I've written about this and I've shared it before, but I had some resistance from certain people in my family, and sometimes that was my husband and his family as well. And it can be really upsetting and really debilitating. It really does knock the wind out of your sails, and it makes you question, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? People don't think I'm good enough. If the people that love me, don't think I'm good enough, then how is anyone else going to? And you really just have to separate it. And I think rather than come from a place of, right, I'm going to prove to them, because that doesn't really work. You will prove to them naturally when things start to happen. But if you come from an energy of trying to prove things, that just doesn't work. It's the same as coming from an energy of lack and scarcity. It just doesn't work. It's that panic mode that your body goes in. But if you can just separate it and go, okay, that's their views. They feel that for their own reasons. They're actually feeling that not because of me, but because of them, whether that's them feeling threatened or whatever it might be. If you can separate that, and those views of you will change quite dramatically. And I've experienced that myself. That's why I'm smiling so much, because it just makes me smile and laugh sometimes around that topic. But also, I think surrounding yourself with the right people. So there are some friends that I've had to kind of not completely dump or cut off, but slowly withdraw from. The negative people that have questioned what I'm doing or taken the mickey out of it. And some of that has been my own family, and that has been quite upsetting, but it's just one of those things. But then replacing that, I guess, one side goes down and then the other side goes up to compensate, but it goes up massively. Being in a community that you feel you can absolutely be yourself, that you can be vulnerable, you can tell them when it's hard, tell them when you're really struggling, but also feel like allowed to celebrate your successes as well, and have other people join in and do the same, as well as supporting you during hard times. They're really, celebrating with you during the good times. I think having that community is essential. And everyone who is a coach, regardless of what you coach on, I believe should have that community where they can kind of take their coach hat off and say, okay, I'm me now, and this is how I'm feeling. So you kind of need two communities. You need one where you can be the coachee and one where you're the coach. And my own community actually lift me up so much, even though they're my clients, like just popping into my Facebook group and seeing their successes, you know, jumping on the line with them if they're struggling, doing whatever needs to do, obviously being on the coaching calls with them. That is just so special. And seeing them support each other is just absolutely like, it's magic. So I think having a community is what gets you through. And Bonnie's popped up. Hi, Bonnie. So yeah, she's amazing member of our community and so giving and so sharing. So yeah, thanks, Bonnie. As always, you're a star.
I said at the beginning that we can be our enemy having unsupportive beliefs. And I want to go back to the money. And how can we change? Or how, first of all, to be able to change, we have to realize what stops us, what doesn't support us. I don't like to say that we have bad or good beliefs, because I think it's only what supports us and what doesn't support us. So how can we find what stops us, and how can we change that beliefs and emotion that are unsupportive?
Yeah.
To have that financial that we want, because it's not necessary to be financial freedom or to have that independence in financial way, but to be at that level what we want as a first step, or at a step.
Yeah. I think you're so right, Camelia. I think, you know, it's not just being financially free, it's having the mindset around money. And if you can be free when you think about money, and when you think about money, you don't immediately go into like, oh dear, I haven't got enough, or, you know, that kind of panic mode, that fight or flight, which so many of us do, and I used to frequently when I thought about money, then that in itself is going to be just so enriching for life. So I think in terms of your beliefs, I think getting really clear on them is the first step, because you can't do anything if you're not clear on what your beliefs are. So I actually have a quiz that we're giving away at the end of this, which will help people to identify what their beliefs are. And you know, we can touch on this briefly. Like, if you grew up, and beliefs generally come from when you were very young. When you were very young and impressionable, you think how easy it is for kids to believe. We've just gone through one of the massive, most child-centered, belief-based times of the year ever, being Christmas. Kids are so impressionable. And when we are children and we are hear things like rich people are bad, or money doesn't grow on trees, you know, money is the root of all evil, which is actually a misquoted Bible term. It's not the correct quote that was actually given. You know, it is a bit like Chinese whispers. It gets enlarged and it gets really into our psyche, and we grew up believing that. And you know, I had the belief that I have to work really, really hard for money, because my dad had to work so hard. And the people, well, you know, we might be poor, but at least we're happy. Those kinds of things. So it was like, well, if I get rich, is that going to make me unhappy? But then I had this kind of like contradiction, because I'm like, but I really want to be rich, because I want to have horses. I want to be able to have my own horses when I'm older. And so I wanted to be rich, whatever that meant, but not only was I battling my own beliefs, I was also battling the fact that if I was rich, what would my parents think about me? What would my other family members who had the same beliefs as me think of me? And so it wasn't just changing my own beliefs, it was changing the opinions, the worry of the opinions of others on me. And how did I do that? Personally, once I got really clear on what those issues were, I used EFT tapping was one of the big tools that I used. It's just a simple process where we tap on the different acupressure points, and it helps just to release these crazy thoughts we have that are very, very logical when you think about why we have them. And some other energetic processes, but also that constant having that community, having a good coach, just building on your, like you said earlier, if the owner of the business doesn't work on him or herself first and foremost, the business will never follow. So constantly working on yourself. If I went back to where my business was a year and a half ago, because of my belief now, it would be so easy. But as my business is growing, I'm stretching and expanding. So I have to keep on working on myself. I don't think I kind of feel like you've got it and it's all in place. And then you take the next step up and you're like, oh dear, I've got a few more doubts now. So I have to do some more work. I think that's just the cycle of life, really. And that's okay, because it's fun to work on them. It's not a chore. It's a great thing that we should be doing every day anyway. Yeah.
Indeed, my grandmom used to say that we learn every day. So we didn't finish when we graduate the university or the school or the high school or something like that. And we will learn till we die, till the last breath we have to learn. So if we are open for that, then will be much easier. And also, I think a great accomplishment is that in the moment that you realize what stopped you and you accept that and you want to change.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
When it's coming about money, in which way you treat your company money? Do you treat in a different way and you have your own money, so you make a distinguish between them, or because it's only you in your company, you consider that the company is your money? How do you deal with that?
That's a really good practical question. And I think it's the mistake so many people make. They get income when they're a solopreneur and they're like, oh, it's my money. And it's actually, no, it's the company's money. So I keep my business accounts completely separate. Obviously I pay myself a wage, but it's all accounted for. I'm not a limited company yet, but when I do, that will all be managed by an accountant, and it will be dividends and shares and all that kind of thing. Obviously it'll be tax efficient, but very, very proper, and as everything should be. So not to say that it's not now, but it's quite simple now. So my income is my income. And then, a chunk of it goes to me at the end of the month when I know I've got a surplus. Well, luckily I do have a surplus now. But in the beginning months when I didn't have a surplus, I was lucky enough to have a husband that supported me, because I couldn't have taken money out of my business because I wasn't making any money. In fact, I had to take the money that he was giving me for myself or from our joint account into my business because it was failing so badly. It was costing me money. And although we have to invest in our businesses, it is tricky. And I think that's why a lot of people struggle and think they can't invest in a coach or a program, because it's like, well, I haven't made the money yet. It's like, well, as long as you are confident you're going to make the money with the right help and you think that this is the person to help you do that, then you need to make an investment from somewhere else, whether it's savings or a loan or, 0% credit card even. I don't recommend people go into debt to build their business, but if it's a solopreneur, like a coaching business, however, if you don't make an investment, and for some people that might mean going into debt, how are you ever going to build your business? There's a lot of outgoings when you start. And I think sometimes you just have to swallow that cost, and don't forget that it can be carried over. As Amy says, getting help is essential. Absolutely, really is. Yeah.
Yeah, because we are living in the world. We are not living alone. So helping each other, and especially when you give value, automatically all this will turn back to you multiplied, because we are working and we are under universe laws, which always will give us more than we put initially in the earth. It's the same with us. So yeah. So at the end, please tell us what means for you to have an exceptional life.
Oh, What a lovely question. What does it mean for me to have an exceptional life? I think for me, like, I'm not one of those people that wants to climb Mount Everest, or, you know, I don't feel the need to be famous or anything like that. It's about helping to transform people's lives. And I feel so blessed and lucky that I'm able to do that. And I actually don't know what would drive me if I wasn't doing what I'm doing. I guess when I worked, I did love my job then. I hadn't discovered this, so I didn't know any better. I worked in HR and I did help people, but now I'm truly transforming people's lives. And it's a big responsibility sometimes. It's almost like I couldn't not do it now, but then I would never want to not do it. So that's a nonsense, really. So it's transforming people's lives, but it's very much for me living an exceptional life is balancing that with my family. I was supposed to do a bit of work today. I did do a tiny bit, but my kids were just, we thought we'd have a lazy day. And they wanted to build a den. So I actually had so much fun playing. We played dens for about 2 hours today. And, we were all blindfolded and playing it. And I actually hurt my neck in the process, which wasn't great. But it was so much fun. And I think sometimes you lose sight of the really simple things. Like I said to my daughter, what do you want to do today? Because she said she was bored. She said, I want to build dens. And she's 9. She'd kill me if she knew I was telling people this. But she still wants the simple things to make her laugh and make her smile and make her happy. And that's what I want. I've got a desperate yearning for a dog. And at the moment, I know I can't really fit one into my life. But I almost know it's a done deal. Thank you, Bonnie. I almost know it's a done deal. It's going to happen. Even if it makes my life a nightmare for a while, things will even out and you get used to it and you just absorb more. So I think having an exceptional life is just having fun and having that connection with people and feeling fit and healthy as well, which I haven't felt much over Christmas. So that's getting back, coming back now. I've eaten and drunk far too much, but it's been good fun too.
Indeed, to have an exceptional life, it's different for each of us. So, and it doesn't mean, as you said, necessarily to climb a high mountain or, I don't know, to do. It's only to be with what you loved, and also to have fun in life. So for me, it's the same, to help others, because in that moment I know that the world will be better around me, and this is the end goal for me. So what I want to do at the end is to invite you at the Author Awards, which will be an event in March. It's also powered by Radio World for authors, and you are one. And why not to share your wisdom with people present there, and to have your book autographed there, and so on. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much for your sharings and your wisdom. And I hope to have you again in a while, if you like to share more about this, because I think the subject about money can't be covered in half or an hour or 1 hour or something like that. It's too deep. And for the next interview, what I want is to go deeper about the beliefs and emotion and how can we change them to support us as a person and also in our businesses.
Yeah, I would love it.
Liz, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And see you soon, and I wish you an amazing 2018. And as I like to say to my friends, I wish you to have a 2018 at least 2017 better than the previous year.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Camelia. It's been such a pleasure. And I would love to come back. And if anyone wants to, I've seen most of the comments pop up, but if anyone wants to connect with me, then they're very welcome to do so. You can just drop me a line, Liz@Elizabeth Mary Hancock, and I'll reply and tell you how you can do that. That'd be awesome. Oh, and I've got some free gifts, haven't I, Camelia? Are we okay to mention those?
Yes, yes. That free gift, it's please mention you about them because you know better than.
Yeah, sure. So I've got two free gifts. I think we're able to post the links. One is the money mindset quiz that I mentioned earlier on in the interview. And then the other one is a fairly short EFT tapping meditation. And it will just really lighten the load around the stress that we feel around money, around that kind of fight or flight response that we might feel quite intensely, or maybe quite what's the word? Quite smallly. I can't think of the word. Subtly, that's the word. You might feel it quite subtly, but we're still having it. So that EFT tapping meditation, I'll talk you through how to tap, and then talk you through a short meditation. So yeah, enjoy it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And we will add the links after the interview as a comment. Everyone can have them. And yes, thank you very much. And see you soon. I hope in March at the other awards. And as I said, why not in another interview when we can discuss more about EFT and how can we change our beliefs and emotion using this one. Thank you very much. So I want to thank you for all of you who are with us. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And I wish you an amazing 2018. Thank you.